From the first time we saw you, our second little miracle, we've been totally in love. We felt so blessed to know our beautiful boy Noah would be a big brother.
Then at 16 weeks, we found out you were a girl.
It was in Ibiza that we settled on your name Luna as we sat outside and saw a beautiful full moon one night.
And now you're here. This is your birth story.
And now here she is, 9 days old.
Asleep in the day, not at night, like
No.
you should be.
We've done well though, because it took us 6 whole weeks to film Noah's birth story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
9 days, we're doing well. So, yeah, let us tell you how she came into the world. So, 35 weeks plus 5 days, we went to like a university reunion to see all my university friends in southeast London. It was a really hot day. It was meant to be, well, it was going to be an amazing day, wasn't it? We arrived, there's loads of food, loads of people we hadn't seen. We've been there, how long do you think we've been there? About an hour?
Maybe, perhaps a bit less, you know.
Yeah, about 45 minutes.
People were still arriving.
Yeah, and I was standing up talking to some friends and I felt a gush down there. And I was like, oh my God, that wasn't right. So I made my excuses, went up to the loo, and my waters had gone.
Then you shouted at me.
I was so scared.
I was at that. I was at the buffet table at
Were
that
you?
point. I was digging into some salt and vinegar, balsamic, whatever it calls, kettle chips.
Sorry
I was
about
like,
that.
hang on a minute.
I'll buy you a packet. Well,
I need you now.
didn't respond. I
genuinely was at the
on
buffet.
The toilet. No, I know. I was on the toilet going, Jay, and you didn't. Oh, sorry.
I was contemplating whether or not the chili was vegetarian or not.
They did us one specially. Anyway,
I couldn't figure out which one it was.
we go here all day. We talk about the buffet. Then you didn't come, so I shouted, Lindsay, who's my friend, and you both came running at once. And I was like, the waters have gone. I was terrified because I was, as I said, 35 plus 5. I knew it was too early, but I knew it wasn't probably dangerously early. So, cut a very long story short, we went to the nearest hospital, which was King's. This wasn't meant to happen. I don't know why you're laughing, Jason. So 35 plus 5. I was at a university reunion when my waters went. Sorry, well, I don't know why I'm saying sorry. I've cried a lot. It was me, Jay and Noah, so we had to rush to the nearest hospital, which isn't our local hospital, which is King's, and that was about 3 hours ago. And I was strapped up to a monitor, and we need to see, I'm getting some tightenings, we need to see if baby girl comes by herself, or I've got to have her within the next 2 days, I think. I might need to be induced, and Jay is watching the monitor to check that everything's still okay. The amount of water literally, it's just ridiculous, and I feel really upset, but I know I just need to go with this now. I'm filming this so I can look back in years to come and show my daughter and tell her what a troublemaker she was. So yeah, maybe more updates later.
So because we had no hospital bag packed, the irony was we genuinely were going to do it the next day, which was a bank holiday Monday.
Yep.
That was our sorting job. We were going to do absolutely everything ready for the birth of Luna, but yeah, that wasn't the case. So I had to go home and grab a few bits, leaving Charlie all by herself.
I've just been crying again. I'm so pathetic because Jay's just gone home. Because obviously we didn't have any hospital bags packed or anything. Mum's done her best, but there's still loads of things. We haven't even got the car seat ready. I haven't even got the cot down from the loft, and so I'm stressing. So I've seen the doctor. They've kind of said it's a toss-up because the waters have gone. It's a toss-up between keeping the risk of infection away, so keeping me on antibiotics, but also keeping the baby in as long as possible, because every day is better for their lungs, because obviously that's the main concern with the baby coming early, although she's 35 plus 5 is a good gestation. It's not really too early. They want me to stay here tonight, definitely. I'm not feeling like I'm going to have a baby overnight, but then we'll see. So I then got moved onto a ward, and they were doing lots of monitoring. I was being given antibiotics, wasn't I, over a few hours, risk of infection. It was, I think the thing that for me was so hard was that no one really knew what to do with me, did they? It was kind of, some doctors were saying it's best to keep them in until 37 weeks, and they were almost kind of saying to me, like, don't encourage the contractions.
Don't have her now.
Don't have her, which is because I'd asked for like a ball to sit on and stuff to try and get her to come, because I could feel these contractions, but I could feel they weren't good enough. And some of them were kind of saying, just get back into bed and stop.
Take the ball away.
Yeah, let's try and just hold this baby out till 37 weeks. And then other doctors were saying, oh, we need to induce you tomorrow because of risk of infection. So I was a wreck, wasn't I, really, by this stage, because when we hadn't slept, poor Jay had to sleep a whole night on a chair with your face up against a window.
I had a mark on the side of my face where there was like the corner of a windowsill. They're not the comfiest chairs in hospital.
Can I just say this, something really cheesy? That night, so it was our first night, because we spent 2 nights at King's, I think. The first night, I woke up in my bed and looked over at you asleep on the chair and thought, I love you like more than ever right now.
Why? Because I just was sleeping on a chair?
No, because of what you were doing for me. Like, you could have gone home and you didn't. You slept on a chair with your face up against a window. So
love is sleeping on a chair.
We'd been there for ages, and one of the midwives said, right, we need to monitor you for 20 minutes. And I was getting a lot of back pain, wasn't I? Which said to me that something was happening. And I didn't want to be flat on my back on the bed. And she said, no, it's fine, we'll monitor you for 20 minutes. Then an hour and 20 minutes had gone by, hadn't it? And I was still strapped up to this monitor, and you went to find her, this midwife, and she was quite stroppy, wouldn't let me get off. So I unplugged myself. A lovely doctor, then came and did something horrendous. I had an internal examination to see if I was dilating, but it was with a speculum, like you have for a smear.
Speculum, that was the word.
Have you been racking your brains?
Someone asked me the other day. I wanted to say like Spectre, which I think is a James Bond movie, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it wasn't that exciting.
Right.
And it was the most painful thing I think I've ever had done to me. I don't know why it was so painful. It was awful. Sorry. She didn't sleep last night, did she?
Doesn't sleep ever.
She does.
Well, in the day.
So I had this examination, and it made me scream, and that was it. I flipped, and do you want to pick up the story?
Well, we discharged ourselves. They were cool with it, though.
Against medical advice. Well, I had to sign a sheet saying it was against medical advice.
Yeah, but they were kind of cool with it. So we discharged ourselves, and we went to our local hospital where we had Noah before.
Yeah, we took a gamble because we didn't know, because King's, where we were, was really, really busy, and we'd phoned our hospital and they said they were really busy as well. They said
there was a baby boom.
Yeah. We rocked up at our hospital at about, I want to say, just after midnight. Yeah, I think it was just after midnight. So, yeah, the day she was born, on the 29th of August. I was taken into triage, hooked up to a monitor, and by then my contractions were coming about every 4 minutes, weren't they? And they were like, yeah, something's happening. We're not sure if it's established labour yet, but everything was just so positive from that point. And then they took us through to a room, and we called our doula, Hannah, didn't we?
Yep.
Told her to come. I looked at my phone the other day, our messages. She arrived about 1:10. I then had her at 5.
Wow.
So if you think that period between midnight and 5, it all happened, and it was because I'm convinced, because I was comfortable. Everyone
there was just incredible. I mean, they feel like a family member, even though you've known them for all of 5 hours.
Should I talk about the gory details of the birth? I will do, because that's why people like these videos. So, yeah, contractions started coming every 2 minutes, I'd say, at about, I think when Hannah arrived, actually, our doula, things sort of really started to pick up every sort of 2-3 minutes. And I very much wanted to be off the bed, didn't I? It was hurting me being on the bed. But I had to be monitored constantly throughout. And you hear a lot of negative stuff about monitoring, but they were amazing, weren't they? To the point where we had long leads. So I had 2 things strapped around my tummy for my heartbeat and her heartbeat. And I was strapped up to an antibiotics IV as well. Forget about that.
But because they were so lovely, they knew I wanted an active labour. The midwife, bless her, every time I had a contraction, the monitor slipped off my tummy because I was obviously writhing around on the ball or on the bed or whatever. She came over and held it on. Like, so every 2 minutes she had to get up, didn't she, and hold the monitor on. And she didn't once complain or once make me feel like it was an inconvenience. And I'm so grateful for that, because if I'd been strapped down to a bed, I would have gone insane. So that's a good tip. If you have to be monitored throughout a labour, you can still move. Just let them know you want to move. Some people want to be on the bed, and that's fine, but I didn't. So I went through all my contractions with just gas and air, didn't I? On the ball, leaning over the bed. And then, I don't know, it must have been, I don't know what time it happened, I went through what they call transition. Do you know what that is?
What, you became a bloke? What, I don't know.
Do you remember the part where I literally started saying, I've got to go home, I can't do this? I was like making animal noises.
Because I'm spat everywhere. You're making animal noises and I'm spitting like an animal.
Like llama.
Yeah.
When you start making cow noises and you start mooing, it means you're transitioning, which means you're getting ready to push.
Right.
And it's a really common thing that at that point a woman wants to leave.
Right.
Because it becomes terrifying and painful. And I never had that with Noah because my labour went really wrong with him. But I got these... It literally went from being contractions to, oh my God, this baby is coming. And then I started pushing, didn't I? And I pushed for, I think they let me go for 1 hour and 10 minutes. By that point, I'd got back on the bed and I couldn't get her round the blooming bend.
You knew there was a bend? I
knew there was a bend because I couldn't get Noah around the bend either. So I don't know if it's because I have small babies or I have an awkward bend. I don't know, but they were...
I need to see a diagram of this bend.
It's the pubic bone.
It was talked about a lot.
It's the pubic bone at the front of, and the baby has to, the head literally has to come round like that.
You think toilet.
Like a U-bend.
It's the only thing you can think of. You know, is that part down there like a U-bend? It's probably not as severe, obviously, because...
But there's something there because she kept coming out, didn't they? And they were saying, we can see her hair, Charlotte, she's got dark hair. And then I'd finished pushing and I could feel her, it sounds horrible, sucking back up, you know, like almost like pressure. So yes, so push wasn't coming, and it was actually me that said this time I think I need some help. My worst fear had been another forceps delivery. Ironically, I found myself asking for forceps, didn't I? Because I don't know, I just knew I couldn't get her past that bend by myself. So they got the doctor in, who was lovely. So the doctor came in. I had an episiotomy.
Easy peasy.
Over my last episiotomy. Obviously, they give you a numbing injection for that, so you don't feel that. And then I had a forceps delivery, which, yeah, most painful thing in my life.
No, the first one went in okay. The second one, not so much.
What, the second spoon?
Yeah. It's like what you do with a salad.
Oh, Jay.
It's one of those. Get two, but they're metal. And they're really nice. More salad. There you go. Oh, something fell through. It's one of those. It looks like that. That's what my first impression when I saw them.
Well, I didn't look, thank God.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how many pushes, a couple of pushes, and she was out with the forceps.
Well, no, they pulled her head with the forceps first. Then they come off, and they said that you pretty much delivered her yourself. You pushed after that. It was the little U-bend that was...
They helped around the U-bend and then I did the rest. Yeah. I don't feel like such failure now that I know that. But so that was the birth story, and exactly 5 a.m. on the 29th of August 2017, this one made an appearance.
Oh, you've caused problems coming early, didn't you?
Coming early and then not wanting to budge.
Hello.
Hello.
And she came out and sneezed.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was half out, so I delivered her head, and she had a sneezing fit. And everyone in the room was laughing, and I was freaking out because I had a baby half out of my
That's my girl.
Sneezing, and the midwives were like, "We have never seen this before." And everyone was cracking out, weren't they? I was just like, "Oh, this is horrible."
Oh.
But yeah, so she made her entrance, and she was beautiful and perfect. Poor Daddy has to do the first outfit.
My ball patch is burning.
She's being good for you though, isn't she?
She's being very good. Got a little girl, Charlotte.
I know, it's mad.
Don't we, Bubba?
Belle Diana. But yeah, so I feel really peaceful with how the birth went, which is funny because I was planning a home birth in water with candles at home, and it couldn't be more different.
Did you enjoy your final birth?
I wouldn't say enjoy is the right word.
I thought you said I wouldn't say final birth then.
Oh God, no.
That's good.
I think that was one of the first things I said when she was delivered. Never again.
Yes.
That whole sort of few days was so stressful. I just felt, do you know what? I'm so blessed to have 2 healthy babies. I'm
Let's
done.
leave it at that.
I'm done.
It's on camera. It's on tape. Okay, you've seen this.
Everyone's
seen this.
There will be times when I feel broody.
Yeah. Can I end by saying once again, the NHS were just phenomenal. Theresa May, whoever's in charge of our system, do not screw it up because it's just so unique.
Getting all political.
Well, it just is. It's not until you get into this point where you realise how important that our NHS system really is.
No, they were amazing.
And it's incredible.
We got our own room.
And we went back again because we had a little scare with her. It turned out not to be a scare. And again,
they were incredible.
I mean, wow.
But after she was born, because she didn't feed well to start with because she was early, but we had like all this help from. They've got their own feeding team, haven't they? I got given my own hospital, my own breast pumps. Just everything was incredible. Even to the point where we were staying on the maternity ward, every morning there was a breakfast trolley. You just go out and help yourself, and a lunch trolley and a dinner trolley.
Obviously, I can't have that. So,
well, you got your fair share of bits and bobs.
Only from stuff that you didn't eat. I had the leftovers. The macaroni cheese was nice.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be doing loads and loads of videos on like newborn stuff. So if you're interested, subscribe and we'll see you again. Look at that gorgeous baby grow.
It's the circle of life.
There you go. I'm sure he does.
Hello, you gorgeous boy.
Baby sister.
Let me lift her up. Let me lift her up.
There she is. You used to be little like this.
What's her name?
Yeah, her name's Luna. I've been practicing saying poor fish. Get her out and stuff.
Who's that? Who is it? Baby sister.
So we've got a very confusing family, Noah, Luna and Isla. I'm already calling you all the wrong things.